After continuously hearing about how Elden Ring was the third coming of Christ, second to only Cyberpunk 2077, subsequently everyone gives me flack for never having finished it, and approximately 300 days after my last video and a continuing Valorant addiction that I can quit whenever I want starting tomorrow, I feel it's about time that I finally share the reason why I never play Elden Ring. I'm a wretch, both in real life and that's my character type. You can see me putting way too much thought into my character's age before deciding he's an old guy named Todd. I don't even know what keepsake means, but what I do know is that I was hungry, and so I chose the boiled prawns. I spent about 10 minutes customizing my character and ended up with the neighborhood homeless meth head. He looks like he smokes his meth straight out of his hand, a visual representation of my experience playing this game. I make it out to the desolate world of the tutorial, where I find myself approaching the first boss fight. I know these hard types of games try to get the drop on you, and I was ready knowing full well that they just spawned the boss behind me and let him get the drop on me, so I spun around running to get that sneak attack damage bonus. This was my first mistake, as he spawned where I originally looked. I turned around to see I was up against one of the ants from Chernobyl. I was Phase Jev, and this was Requise. I continued to run because while my character was a wretch according to his stat sheet, he's a bitch according to me. I briefly considered jumping off the side of the cliff because the game can't kill me if I do it first. But I'm something of a game exploiter myself. You can call me the spiffing butt. See, an easy way to cheese any combat system would be to dodge, wait out an attack, swiftly attack, run away, and repeat. This move will cut your frustration at the cost of your dick size and self-esteem, but it's functional. I head for the play, and Requise immediately 4-shots me and sends me to the afterlife.
Hey, you're finally awake.
I wake up in a cave, do some cave things, desecrate some bodies, you know, the usual, and I find a fire where I can sit and save and touch myself to the imaginary scenario where I actually won the fight and didn't feel like a disappointment to my friends, family, lovers, and that furry I met at Comic-Con. See, we respawn at the save point every time we die, and in our case we die when we fail to cheese the system, so this save point would soon be like my girlfriend's house, the place I come back to every time I fail at cheating. So open the doors to one of the most beautiful worlds I've ever seen. There's grass, trees, that big golden tree, some birds, also ledges that you can jump off of like the game doesn't care. As well as the beauty, there's also this guy from Assassin's Creed straight ahead of me. I don't know how I missed him the first time, but this is my chance to rank up and finally get my first kill. I take out my club and sneak towards him while his back is turned. It turns out his back looks a lot like his front because he was looking directly at me the entire time. Poor guy just saw a half-naked crack addict crouch walking towards him with a stick and he stood still. This should have been my first hint he wasn't an enemy, but I thought my sneak skill was just off the charts. So I sneak around him and I see the talk button. Again, I have no idea why, but I still thought he was an enemy. So I hit him with the insta-kill sneak attack. Only it wasn't instant, it wasn't sneaky, and it wasn't a kill. In fact, it did next to nothing to him, given that he was like 15 levels and 100 IQ points ahead of me. But while he has good weapons, skill, wisdom, common sense, happiness, magic, knowledge,
3 days later,
a hoodie, a college education, a cool little campfire, a big peenie, an iPhone 14 Pro Max, and also probably a loving girlfriend, I have plot armor and family. Okay, so that was a lie. I have about as much plot armor as Oscar Pistorius' ex-girlfriend, and when I went back to him, it was on sight. He didn't give a flying fuck how much I cried and begged for mercy, bro. He proceeded to absolutely tank me every single time.
The more you fuck around, the more you're gonna find out.
And so this was like my first boss fight. He did, however, have common decency, as when I sat by his campfire to rest, he waited until I stood up to beat me. He'll never hit a man while he's down, unless he's just down emotionally, in which case
It's free real estate.
I ended up getting killed time and time again. But I did learn he can't get into the building I came from, and I figured I could use this to my advantage. If I kept running inside, he'd be stuck on the door and I can manage a hit or a few. If I continued this, then in theory I could actually beat him. Though I did find out the hard way that his magic can make it through the door, I had a glimmer of hope regardless. Might my asshole live to see another day untouched, or will Moon Knight here turn my life into a Riley Reid simulator? Over the course of the next half an hour, I'd lure him to the door like an old man with candy, and I'd beat him almost as hard as my meat when I saw Ryan Gosling in the trailer for Barbie. Eventually, trying more than one attack at a time, I was slowly gaining confidence, slowly gaining cockiness, and I was heartbroken to find out he can actually consume health potions. Would this throw a wrench in my plans? Would I still manage to make this happen? Can the neighborhood crackhead finally beat Moon Knight? Find out after the break.
who's that Pokemon?
It's Bulbasaur.
It's
A single shrimp. Bro, that's not even the same picture. One shrimp. I have one boiled shrimp, but he was low on health. If I risked it all and went for an all-out super mega combo, I could actually manage to beat this friendly beginner NPC. One brain cell, one prawn, and one opportunity to seize everything I ever wanted. Will I capture it or let it slip?
You can't just rip off of Eminem.
Bro, shut up, you're not in this episode. You're not in this episode. I eat the prawn and go for broke. I lead him back, wait for him to slip up, and I hit him with the 3-piece McFucket combo, adding a 4th for good measure and teabag him like the victorious warrior that I am. They'll be telling my story in taverns for centuries. Or they would if I didn't just kill this man with no witnesses around, but you know, yeah. With his dying breath, he's like, "You get no bitches," which kinda hurt because it's true and all he dropped was a finger. Not a very profitable venture, but I can watch the sunrise on a universe that's basically oblivious to my achievement. I walk around the map feeling proud, and I see medieval C-3PO on a horse. Learning from my previous encounter, I decide to walk up and ask for directions. He immediately attacks me, and I try to run, but I eventually die. Man, fuck this, I'm playing Barbie on the Sega Genesis.